Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So we're back with the 4.0b patch notes review. Now this one is a real exciting one because for me in particular, there's quite a number of interesting, exciting changes that I like. Anyways, let's jump straight into it. So first one of those changes is, well, I guess you could say additions, not changes, is Zeri. So obviously Zeri is an ADC champion who has a very unique kit, which involves manually aiming your auto attacks and is pretty weak in the early game, but scales into a monster hyper carry in the late game, sort of like Vayne. And of course, she is going to be actually releasing tomorrow, which actually is 1 week earlier than what they previously announced back on patch, like the previous 3 point something patch. They announced that she would release on February 24th. So 1 week early is absolutely amazing. I thought I'd have to wait another week, but I guess not. So that is absolutely amazing. So Zeri's coming out tomorrow. And One for All is still going on. It has been going on, so I guess you can see it's been going on since February the 2nd. And it's going to end on February 21st, where it will be replaced with the dual mode, the 1v1 mode. And there's going to be the Project Surge event coming tomorrow as well. Of course, Zeri is going to be releasing with Project Zeri, and there's going to be other project skins like Lucian and Renekton. We'll take a look at that at the bottom of the patch notes. So champion changes, Caitlyn is getting a nerf of 4 AD to her base AD, and I think this one's really warranted. As a personal Caitlyn player myself, I found that she does absurd amounts of damage in the early game, and I kind of knew that she was going to get a nerf sooner or later, so I think this should bring her power levels down to where they want it to be, because she is supposed to be oppressive in the laning phase, but I don't think she's supposed to do this much damage. And next up we have Camille. So as I predicted in the last patch, the changes to Camille have made jungle Camille strong, so they don't want that. Obviously they have been trying to kick Camille out of the jungle for the longest time, and they definitely don't want her coming back into the jungle. So the outer H health ratio is going down by a further 10%. Now this one's pretty suspicious because this one, it also affects lane. This one affects lane Camille as well, and kind of lowers the skill level of Camille even more, where the inner edge doesn't really matter whether you hit the outer or inner edge. But the monster mod is getting cut in half, so again gonna affect her jungle clear, and her clear is already pretty bad in my opinion. So I think Camille jungle not too good at the moment. Of course, we will be doing a tier list relatively soon. When I get a good grasp of what's happening in the patch, we will be getting on with the tier list, and we will see where she ranks. Now Jarvan is getting a cooldown buff to his Golden Aegis, which is his shield. And now personally, out of all of Jarvan's abilities, I feel that the shield does almost nothing, but they clearly want that to change. So what they're doing is they're upping the base stats of the shield by quite a significant margin. Like at max rank it is 45, but you max this last, so you're gonna be stuck at rank 1, where you're gonna get 80 shield instead of 65 shield for quite some time. And as a trade-off, they're lowering the percent maximum HP per enemy. So in case you guys didn't know, you get more shield the more enemies you hit with your AoE on your W. So I think this is in general good, because if you're going against an enemy with high max health in the first place, you probably don't need so much of a shield, because that's probably a tank. And if you're going against a squishy enemy, you're going to be getting less shield, but that's probably when you want more shield. So I think adjusting the base numbers to be higher and the percent max health to be lower is a buff to him. So I think overall Jarvan just getting a pretty nice quality of life buff that shouldn't affect him all that much. Now MF is getting a base damage buff of 10 on her Q, which is the double up, because she did get around the nerfs. Apparently the nerfs were a bit too much, and she's now pretty weak. In my opinion, she's been weak all along, but in Riot's opinion, there was a point where she was strong, and now she is weak. So Morgana getting some adjustments. So the Black Shield is getting higher base amounts and getting lower AP. This is pretty much the Lux treatment of they want Morgana to be support. They don't quite want her to be like mid, or I don't even know if they want her to be in the jungle, but I'm pretty sure they want her to be in support. And its cooldown is going down by 2 seconds at all ranks. However, its duration is going down from 5 to 4 seconds. So overall, I would say that the scaling and base numbers kind of depends on which role you play. Cooldown going down is a definite plus. However, the duration going down by 1 second, could matter in a lot of instances, so that is kind of a nerf. Overall, it's just an adjustment, as they say. Now, Senna is getting a very, very interesting buff, which is that her Q now slows enemies by 15%. Now, the 0.1% attack damage and 0.06% ability power is basically negligible. Like, you think about how much damage Senna can build in the first place. If you have like 100 bonus AD, that's like 100 bonus AD gives you only like 0.1, I think. So like 0.1, let me grab like a calculator here. So 0.1% times 100 is like, yeah, you get 0.1 only. You only get 0.1 extra AD. So I'm not sure if this actually counts the miss, but if it counts the miss as well, it's still really low. Like, how many matches are you gonna hit like 100 plus miss? So let's say you have about 60 miss, and you have like, let's say you're building damage. Let's say you have like a Edge of Night. That's like another 50. So like, let's say you have 50 from Edge of Night. You have 60 from like your soul. Not soul. Your mist stacks. And let's say you have like Manamune. Let's say you have Manamune. So that's like another extra like 25 plus some conversion from the mana, and like, what else do you go for? You go for like, I don't know, let's say you go for like the support item gives you like a little bit as well. Like, overall, that's still gonna give you like I don't even think that's gonna give you one extra percent slow. So basically, long story cut short is that the scaling is completely negligible. Like, this part, you could have taken it away, and I honestly think nobody would notice the difference. But 15% slow on her Q is pretty huge. So this leads to the next question, which is, will Senna still go for things like Iceborne Gauntlet and things like Sorella's Grudge? Because the main reason Senna goes for those is for the utility of the slow on her Q. But now that she has a slow on her Q itself, could this open up Senna to other builds, like more damagey kind of builds? I don't know. We're gonna have to test it out, and I'm definitely gonna make some content on Senna for you guys, and we'll have to see how that goes. So Yasuo, his E target immunity cooldown is going down from flat 8 seconds to actually scaling down to 5 seconds. This is actually pretty huge. Because if you think about it, that 3 seconds could make all the difference. Now think about this, like, imagine Yasuo's in the middle of the mid lane, he dashes straight onto his opponent. Let's say their tier 1 and tier 2 towers are down, they start running away, Yasuo cannot catch up because they have a dash, and they're running, and then 5 seconds later, his E comes back up, and he's able to dash onto them again. Could make the difference in some cases when you're chasing someone down or escaping. But overall, it generally shouldn't affect too many scenarios, except some very, very niche scenarios. So overall, this is a buff to Yasuo, but it shouldn't matter too much. Now, Yuumi finally getting a huge, not really that huge, but she's getting quite a bit of a nerf. So first up, one of the main problems of Yuumi is having a very strong poke on her Q. So the enhanced current health damage, which is the one where she's attached, the percentage is going down at all ranks, and at max rank is going down by 1.5%. So that is a pretty sizable nerf, and the mana cost also going up. And the passive on her W, where she gives adaptive force to whoever she's attached to, is also getting nerfed by quite a significant amount. Now, the thing to note here is that it's not the last rank where it's gone down by 2%. It's the first rank where it's gone down from 13 to 8. Now, why is this such a huge deal? If you guys notice, the nerf gets less and less when you max it. Like, at max rank, it's only down by 2%, but at first rank, it's down by 5%. And 5% is a lot when you take into account that the new number is 8. So, a lot of Yuumis have been maxing Q. They take Ludens, they max Q, and then they max E second, and they max W last, which is a very common max order for Yuumi. So this nerf hits two things. First thing is, if you max Q, you're getting less poke because of this. And if you don't max W, whoever you're attached to is going to suffer in terms of they're going to get a lot less stats than previously. So now, Yuumi, I'm not sure if she's still going to stay with the same Ludens like poke playstyle. I kind of suspect that it will be still the same like that. But she might want to max W second instead of maxing E second now, because the adaptive force is a pretty huge part of Yuumi, and honestly, because of the way the heal works, the heal sort of becomes a lesser part of Yuumi because you have to hit 3 times to prompt the heal, so something like that. And finally, we have Zed, who now does only 60% damage to monsters instead of full damage to monsters. Apparently, Zed jungle is popular in high elo. So item changes. Banshee's Veil cost dropping by 200. That's great because I think it's pretty expensive for a defensive item when you can like 3k can get pretty much like close to getting a lot of the other offensive AP items. Locket cost is going from 800 to 500, and this makes a lot of sense because last time Locket used to be that OP like shield that wins you team fights, that applies to your whole team and blocks both forms of damage. Now it's only a magic damage shield, which makes it really niche, so you shouldn't really get punished for buying such a niche item, at least not in Riot's philosophy. So they're lowering the cost down back to 500. It used to be 500 like eons ago, if you guys were even playing or remember that time when Locket cost 500. Yeah, so Randuin's Omen getting a buff. Clearly, after the new Randuin's Omen was added in the previous patch, it didn't perform as well as they wanted it to, so what they're doing now is the pre-mitigation critical strike damage that you store as determination. For melee, it's going from 12 to 16%, and for range, it's going from 8 to 10%, so overall, you're going to store more, and you're going to heal more when you proc on that attack, so making the item stronger. Spirit Visage getting a extra 10 ability haste and cost coming down by 100. Now I'm not sure why they're doing this because especially after they added the shielding thing on the Spirit Visage, it's become a really popular item. So I'm not sure why it needed another buff, but I guess it must be performing under expectations for them, which is why they're giving it another buff. But overall, this is gonna make Spirit Visage really strong. Now Pathfinder, regeneration is going from 1% to 1.5. No one takes Pathfinder anymore. It's pretty bad rune at this point. And second wind, missing health, recovered over 5 seconds is going up from 1.5 to 2, and for melee is going from 3 to 4. This one's pretty interesting because honestly, this is a good rune, and it's pretty niche. Depending on your matchup, it's sort of like the rune that you take like when you're playing Baron lane and like you're against, let's say like you're a Garrett and you're against a Cannon, and you're gonna get harassed the whole lane, and this is what you kind of need to take. But aside from that, generally like Bone Plating or Hunter Titan is better. So honestly, it's not that second win is bad. It's just that there are too many good runes competing for its spot. So that's sort of the issue. Anyways, so for the skins department, we have Project Zeri, Lucian, Master Yi, and Renekton all coming out tomorrow with the release of Zeri and the project event. Accessories as shown, and that's pretty much it for this patch. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.